Hello, Big Creek students. This is Mrs. Rowland, your principal, and I am recording a short presentation tonight to talk about what it's going to look like to come back to Big Creek next Monday. So remember, we've been remote learning and you've been able to see your teachers on your computer screen. Now it's time to see your teachers in the building, and we are so excited to have you back. Depending on your last name, we'll see some of our friends Mondays and Wednesdays. Some of our friends will be here Tuesdays and Thursdays, and some of our friends will still be learning on the computer. But either way, we're excited to be back as a Big Creek family. This presentation is broken into individual slides that will help you, mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, friends and family, as well as the students, understand some of the expectations on how we'll return to school. So on each slide, you'll look for a little black square with a white triangle. It means there's a recording to explain what's going on. Look through the slides, and at the end, you'll see a link of where you can ask extra questions to answer. These two slides are a table of contents. They're interactive, so at the end of the presentation, if you want to go back and review, let's say, expectations for arrival or what mask breaks will look like, you can click on each link and it'll take you exactly to the page where that information is provided. This slide takes a little bit of a deeper dive into what it looks like on both synchronous days and asynchronous days. Another way to look at the hybrid schedule is blue days, students with the last name of A through L, will be in our buildings on Mondays and Wednesdays. And orange days, students with last names beginning with M through Z, will be in our building on Tuesday and Thursday. On the days that you're not in the school building, your teachers will have activities, review, preparation for the next lesson, all ready for you to go at your own time and your own pace. On the days that you're in the building, it'll look like a normal school day, including lunch, recess, your Encore classes. It's going to be really great to be back in the building. This is an important link because on an asynchronous day, or the days that you are at home learning, there will not be a set schedule. If you look at the very last bullet on this page, it talks about families being able to choose their own daily schedule that works best for your children and for your home. Maybe your children are early risers and are ready to tackle their work and practice first thing in the morning. Totally appropriate. Maybe students benefit from having set hour chunks to work on different things, followed by breaks to go do other activities. Again, on the days the students are home, they will not be logging in with their set time like we did during remote. This slide talks about attendance, and regardless of a home day or an in-building day, attendance will be taken all 5 days a week. If your son or daughter is sick and can't log in, or is sick and can't come to school, we ask you to call our school phone number and call in the absence just as you would on any other type of absence. A question was asked that if a student were to be quarantined for any reason, what would that look like? And the answer is simply, we would treat that as any illness. Parents can request work to be sent home, and on days that are asynchronous, you would be able to log in and do your work just as any other student would. This slide is very similar to the presentation that Tracy Wheeler shared last night. All students, grades K through 12, and all staff are required to wear masks while in the school building, while moving through the school hallways, and on the bus. So take a look at the expectations below and make sure that your student is comfortable taking their mask on and off on their own and is able to wear one that fits appropriately on their face. Mask breaks will occur during the school day. These can happen at recess, or maybe an outdoor walk, or at times when we can maintain 6 feet or more of social distance. Teachers will use times in the day that fit into the schedule and also honor the opportunity to take a break. One part we're excited to work on is our outdoor instructional spaces. Each grade level has been assigned a zone to access throughout the day for instructional purposes, mask breaks, or just an opportunity to get outside and get some fresh air. We were very deliberate in making sure each grade level had an area so that they could access it whenever fits best into the schedule of the day. Take a look at the map to see where your outdoor instructional spaces could take place. One shift that will occur this year is parent access and visitor access in the building. Many of us have already been working in the school for quite some time, and we have greatly reduced the number of visitors that have come in and out of our setting. This is to help maintain social distancing and to also keep track of who is coming in and out of our settings. You can see below there's several expectations for parent and visitor access to the building. First of all, if you're bringing your student to school and they're late, you may bring them up to the main doors. But at that point, we'll let the teacher know that the student is here, and we will buzz in the student to enter the school building. If your student forgets their lunch, their Chromebook, something that you need to drop off later in the morning, again, we'll use the vestibule as a drop-off spot, and then one of our staff will be able to come out to the vestibule and pick up the item. We appreciate your flexibility with this. I know it's a little different than in times past, but we think it'll help keep the safest environment for all our students and staff. This is an important slide to review as a family, probably a couple times before coming back to the school next week. We will be using a lot of time for hand sanitizing and hand washing, as we know that's a safety protocol that helps minimize risk and exposure. We will be using directions in the hallway. Some areas may be one direction, some areas may be 2 directions, but we're going to teach the students how to stay on the far right-hand side of our hallways. We will be eating lunch in the cafeteria with assigned seats with a buddy, and we will be, at this point, rescheduling any of our large group gatherings, field trips, assemblies at a later date. Again, we're minimizing how many visitors are in the building, but we are able to bring back things such as locker usage, and we are going to have students bring their own water bottles to school. A note on water bottles: we will not have access to our drinking fountains, so we recommend that students who are here all day to have 2 water bottles, one for the morning, one for the afternoon. This is a good opportunity to make sure they have a tight seal and close real well so that when they're traveling them to school in the morning, we don't have any wet book bags. So again, this is an important slide on how we're working to reduce health risks and increase educational time in our school. And our district health specialists on ensuring that our clinic procedures provide a safe area for both students with daily medical needs, as well as if a situation to arise that we would require an isolation area. The next few slides show the layout of our clinic spaces, as well as how we determine what areas of the clinic will visit what student needs. On this slide, we talk about clinic procedures and really looking at the family's responsibility. Every morning, we ask every family to be responsible and conduct a daily symptoms check. If a student may be symptomatic, we will ask that each family already make arrangements so that a student can be picked up as quickly as possible from the school setting. For anyone who's been in our school clinic before, this map should look familiar. Clinic A is where our traditional clinic setting is. And again, that will be for more maintenance, regular day-to-day care. Clinic B will be proximity close to the regular clinic, but is able to be closed off and would be used if we had any students or staff that may be exhibiting symptoms. The area near Clinic A and Clinic B will be used as a waiting room area if we need students to have a safe spot to stay and wait for the school health specialist. An important part of maintaining safety in our building is being able to know where every student and every staff member is during the day. That's part of our responsibility in contact tracing. This is a nice slide to look at where we look at positive cases and how that impacts students that may be under primary contact and students that may fall under secondary contact. Again, the district has put out several guidance pieces around the contact tracing procedures, but you can see how each classroom, each bus, the cafeteria, and even as we line up students in the hallway, we'll have a seating chart so that we know exactly what students are located in the building at all times. One of the benefits of a hybrid schedule is that we have half as many students in a setting at a time. This will allow us to have students eating in the cafeteria each day while maintaining social distancing guidelines. This map shows you that each class, as they enter the cafeteria, will follow a flow of traffic, starting from the right side of the map, coming across through the cafeteria, and when their 30-minute lunch period is over, they will either exit through the front of the building to go to recess or towards the main office where they can head back to their classrooms. The cafeteria space is divided into 4 zones. You can see that in the slide prior to this one. You can see here some of the guidelines below on how we'll maintain safe distances when the students come down to eat lunch. This is a really important slide. And if you have followed the guidance from the district yesterday, you're probably already aware of this procedure. But when we move into hybrid scheduling, we will ask families to complete a Google form every week indicating which breakfasts and which lunches you would like prepared by your school. So be on the lookout, because on Wednesdays you will receive, as a parent or guardian, the Google form, which you'll fill out for the following week. Welcome to pack their own lunches, but we are asking that if you send your child with a packed lunch, that you use a disposable bag, either a plastic bag or a paper bag, that can be thrown away at the end of the lunch. At this time, we are not using lunch boxes or reusable thermoses to carry food, because at the end of the lunch period, everything goes into the trash. If you're part of our preschool program, this slide's for you. As always, we will continue with our preschool drop-off occurring at the front main doors, and we will have guidance coming from Ms. Szabo as to how we will do that and maintain social distancing. Our preschool times are listed below, and we will get continued guidance from our preschool program and from Ms. Szabo, our preschool teacher right here at Big Creek. Earlier this month, the district asked families to complete a transportation form if you are planning on using our busing system. If you are a car rider or a walker to school, please be mindful that we've adjusted the times so that we have students coming into the building as close to 9 o'clock as possible. We will be using all doors around the building to bring students in and to allow social distancing to occur. We're asking that if you arrive by car, to arrive about 8:55 in the morning. Walkers, please arrive at approximately 9 o'clock in the morning. And we know our buses, and through the transportation department, we will begin unloading buses at 8:55. A little different from years past, as the students enter the building, they will be going directly up to their classroom. If you're a family that selected breakfasts to be had here at school, you'll also have breakfast waiting for you in your classroom, already ready for you to go. So we are going to minimize the amount of large groups and gathering and get the students quickly into the school and into their classrooms. Also, remember, we'll have hand sanitizer at every entrance, and we will also have signage reminding students what 6 feet of social distancing looks like. We will also have markings on our sidewalks to help guide students in maintaining that social distancing. And of course, our staff, they'll be there too to help. Dismissal will also look a little different this year. Bus riders and car riders will be dismissed at staggered times. Please be patient in the first few weeks because we know dismissal is going to take a little longer than usual. We will be loading buses one at a time. And if you're picking your student up in the car line, this year we're asking all families to stay in their vehicles at all times. We will get your student to you in a safe, organized, and social distanced manner. Again, this is a change from years past, but I have a feeling we're going to see it be a really smooth transition as we get a little practice and our year underway. Okay, I know this map looks a little confusing, but if you follow the dots, you'll know exactly where to go. Blue dots towards the bottom of your screen are the entrance points where students who are riding buses will come into the building. You can see bus riders that are kindergartners, bus riders that are grades 2 and 3, and bus riders that are in grade 4 will each have a designated area that is getting them the closest to their classroom once they enter the building. The biggest change, and I'm going to ask all of our grown-ups to pay close attention to this, is that if you are dropping your son or daughter off in the morning, you're actually going to come in off of Pearl Road, down the service driveway, and drop your student off where the yellow dot says car drop-off spot. That yellow dot helps students get to the back side of the building where we actually have multiple doors that students can enter. Again, the goal is to maintain social distancing and also use doors that once the student enters the building, they're as close to their classroom as we can get them. So you can see if you're a car rider, you're going to come from the Pearl Road entrance, down our service driveway, and you're going to drop them off at the yellow car drop-off spot. To give you a frame of reference, that's real close to where the playground is. Once the student is dropped off in that area, staff will be greeting and helping students get to one of 3 doors. Car riders that are in kindergarten will use the kindergarten hallway. Car riders that are in grades 1 and 3 will actually stay on that side of the building and just enter through the recess doors. And students that are car riders but are in designated kindergarten classrooms of Mrs. Schaefer and Mrs. Kilbane, as well as car riders in grade 2 and grade 4, will actually use the doors on the back side of the building closest to the soccer field. That way, when they enter the building, again, they're very close to where their classroom is. Again, remember the goal is to use all of our entrances so that we don't have clumps of students, but rather a nice open flow where we can maintain social distancing. Moms and dads, this is going to be an important slide that I would ask you to revisit and check before next week. We'll also be sending out a video later this week where you'll actually get to see the drop-off process. So hang tight, but make sure to make note of where the drop-off spots are, especially if you're a car rider. This is another map just to show our grown-ups how the cars will be entering the school for arrival and dismissal. Again, here's the change. This year, cars will be coming from the Pearl Road entrance, down the service driveway, and around the back parking lot. You can see the flow of traffic for cars is in orange. The flow of traffic for our school buses is in blue. The buses will be following the same loop as they do every year. But the nice thing with this change is that we do not have any overlap of traffic, and it allows us to spread all of our students out as they arrive and as they leave at the end of the day. All right, the question you've all been asking, what about recess? Oh, boys and girls, recess is an important part of your day, and you'll still get to go to recess just like you would any other year. There are a few changes, and they're outlined in this slide. Basically, you're going to have a designated zone where other kids from your classroom will also be. If we're maintaining 6 feet of social distancing, then we can also use recess time to take a mask break. Each class will have a designated staff member to monitor and support the zone. And in the first month, we're going to ask you to maybe bring some of your favorite things to do. Maybe you love drawing. You can bring a notebook and some colors. If you have a book you're reading or something that you'd like to play with outside in your zone and area, go for it. We are working on a systematic approach to build in some activities and eventually bring in equipment and other recess slides and activities. But for the first few weeks, we're going to really ask students to bring their own individual items to play with outside. When the weather changes, we will have indoor recess, and that will be in the classrooms again. But the nice thing is with the hybrid, it'll be small groups in the classroom setting. And we will be allowed to use our social distancing and probably some mask breaks in that time as well. Another part of the school day we're really excited to bring back are our Encore classes. We used to call them special areas, but this is our art, PE, music, and media specialist, or our library class. Each classroom has some unique challenges that we've been working through with the teachers and our staff to say, how can we create the best experience while still maintaining a safe one? So each class has put together some documents. Feel free to look at them. It will talk a little bit more about how each class is set up for social distancing, disinfecting, and practicing safeguards in their setting. You can see those links here, and I encourage you to take a few minutes to read through each of those. When we look at our day, especially for the days that you're here in the school setting, we are going back to our regular schedule. So staff will be in the buildings from 8:30 to 4 p.m. every day, and our student hours are from 9 a.m. till 3:40, which is about when we start our dismissal process. So again, the days that you're in school, either Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday, we're going to start at 9 o'clock sharp. Also, with Encores, we will be following a rotation that is similar to the hybrid schedule. For example, every week you'll attend 2 Encore classes. If you have music on Monday with Mrs. Rivera's class, on Tuesday when you're at home, you'll work on some activities from Miss Jones that follow up with your in-person class. If you have Miss Rivera in person on Tuesday, then you'll go to Miss Jones' music class on Tuesday and do the activities when you're home on Monday. You can see the explanation written below, and basically every student will see 2 Encore classes in person when they're here at school, and we'll have 2 follow-up activities to complete when they're at home. Your teachers may already be talking to you about school supplies and what we'll need to. All right, you made it to the last slide, and here are some important things to remember and to practice for the next week. Number 1, make sure you have a good idea of our arrival locations. Where are you getting dropped off in the morning? Number 2, develop a routine to charge your Chromebooks each evening. Remember, on the days you come to school, you will be responsible for bringing your Chromebook fully charged, ready to go for the day. Number 3, develop a routine for your daily symptoms check. Remember, moms and dads, This will be on your responsibility list to make sure that the students are coming to school healthy and ready to learn. Number 4, review the pickup procedures. One of the things that we're going to be using is a sign in any car that picks up students at the end of the day. You'll get directions on the first day your student comes home from Big Creek. Have a good plan in place, and remember, if you're coming in a car or if you're leaving in a car, we're using the Pearl Road entrance through the service driveway to get to your cars this year. And finally, practice self-sufficiency skills. At lunchtime, that means opening lunches, opening snack packs, drinks, water bottles, and also practice your self-sufficiency skills with putting your mask on and taking it off. Boys and girls, I know you can do it, and I'm so excited to see you next week. If you have questions, I ask you to go back through this presentation. You can surely go back through Tracy Wheeler's presentation from the previous night. And there will also be a link in your email with a form that you can submit questions to that we'll review and get back to you with more information. I appreciate you spending the time reading through this, and have a great evening and rest up. We're excited to see you next week.